Hey, what's going on, YouTube? It's been a while. Hopefully, everyone is well. So, I'm back and I've got a different mindset towards all this now. I've got a new office. I'm very, very motivated. And it just feels like my home gym almost, you know? Like with my home gym, the environment just feels amazing when you go in there. I mean, I recently traveled to Australia for 2 weeks. And sometimes I did some of my workouts at home where I got my son and my nephew to sit on my back to do some push ups, for example, or use them for pistol squats. And while that did the job, it just wasn't as fun, you know? So it's just kind of like, it's just not the environment. So with this now, I feel like making some videos, but the videos are going to be, pretty random here and there, I guess. But what I want to do, and this is solely for me, but if someone's watching, tuning in, they might like how I do things and they might get some value out of it. So just recently, actually, for whatever reason, perhaps because this has been the best training of my life in terms of, performance, how I look. I mean, it's not the absolute leanest I look or the biggest or what have you, but it just feels so balanced. And, applying all that with my day-to-day life, i.e., family, kids, wife, all that sort of stuff. So I feel really blessed. So I wrote everything and used ChatGPT to kind of make it sound a little bit more eloquent and format it really well. And I emailed it to myself, just some sort of like archive, if you will. So if I don't know, get a head injury and I look at these artifact things that I wrote to myself of how many calories I had and what foods I did and the psychology behind it and how I trained, etc. So what I want to do is I want to do this in video format as to why I do some of this stuff. And today I want to talk about, my, basically my warm-up drills to get me going in the mornings, because I train first thing in the morning for a couple of reasons. One of them is I want to take time out of my day, not my family's day. And the second being is that I like to challenge myself as well, because you wake up, you're not at your peak, your body is not warm, you don't have much food, you've just woken up. But also another one is basically, you start to accumulate mental fatigue throughout the day. So you wake up, you might be in a good mood, but then, you might hit traffic and someone cuts you off, you get angry, or you find out, your son's been in trouble at school, or you get some bad news, or you argue with your coworker, or you have a, tiff about something with your wife or something, so all that sort of stuff kind of accumulates. Or if something happens, where you just can't train for that day, or you have to cut your training short, at least in the morning, the chances of all that happening is like slim to none. With the exception of today, my son came in after my first squat set and told me that his sister, my daughter, has got an ear infection. So yeah, it's not a good way to start. But I got the green light from my wife, the thumbs up to keep training. So that was all good. But just for stuff like that, I was ready to just, I was halfway through my workout, but that sort of stuff hardly happens in the mornings, at least in my experience anyway. So without further ado, this is for me. I don't really care about the views. I actually do care, but I really want to like log this in and just, if someone's really interested in how I do stuff, like, hey, listen, man, go check out my video. I'm going to keep this like 10 minutes or so. So I always start off my workouts, the OGs here will know, with some sort of plantar and dorsiflexion, because that's going to get my ankles warmed up, because my training is based on 4 movements. So it's a lower body push, lower body pull, upper body push, and upper body pull. And I just choose whichever ones I want. I'm not married to sticking to one exercise. I can see the merit in that. But once you become advanced and once you kind of understand how things go and you have that mind-muscle connection, I don't think it doesn't matter if you stick to an exercise or change it up every week or so. Now, the exception with that is the high bar back squat and the conventional deadlift. I just truly enjoy doing them. Maybe because I actually genuinely like them, or perhaps I'm in denial and I'm comparing those lifts with everyone else, because that's obviously what most people do when it comes to squatting with a free weight or hinging with a free weight. So I always start off on this day with a tibia raise, and I treat all my exercises that are that are isolation to failure. So this one, I go all out, and what this does is it really warms up my ankles, because the first main movement of my routine every single day is a squat pattern. So with this exercise, I have warmed up my ankles, and I straight away go to a knee flexion exercise, i.e. a leg curl. Now this could be a standing leg curl that is kind of mimicking a seated leg curl where I would bend over at the hips, or it's your classic prone, i.e. lying leg curl. And what this will do is it will warm up my knees. So now I have warmed up my ankles, my knees, and my body temperature has gone up because I'm going to failure on both of these exercises. I only do one set for isolation work. And in case you're wondering, what about your hips? Because you want your knees, your ankles, knees, and hips warmed up. Well, my mindset is this. Once I warm up my ankles and knees, going under the squat bar, just the bar by itself, is warming up my hips. And every other subsequent warm-up set is warming up my hips. So by the time I get to my top warm-up, which will dictate what the weight is for that day, I'm already warmed up. It feels like an evening session. So I'm really blessed in that regard. So that takes care of my lower body sort of warm-up / mobility work. And this month I'll be 39 years old on the 25th. So this probably doesn't apply to you youngins or people that train in the afternoon or evening. But if you're someone who is pressed for time, has a home gym, and wants to get things out of the way, but you feel reluctant because it just doesn't feel the same, trust me, do this. Obviously have a pre-workout, i.e. for me, I used to train on empty stomach with just an energy drink. Nowadays, I have the energy drink, but I'll probably show it on screen. It's basically white toast with honey, some salt, and a banana. And I have this 1 hour, 45 minutes before the workout along with the drink, and I'm ready to smash it. Do I feel a difference between just having caffeine versus having food like that? I personally haven't noticed a difference, but what I have noticed a difference with is the post-workout, because I can't get my post-workout meal straight away. I'm busy. I have to get the kids ready, drop them off, so on and so forth. So sometimes I'm 2 hours without a post-workout meal. So what this will do is kind of keep me going for that, because before that, I'd just be like kind of dragging feet until I get back home. And, you know, when you're hungry, you might make stupid decisions. In any case, that was a lower body warm-up. So the upper body, what I have been doing now, and on this day, actually, I do it alongside with the lower body. Usually what I will do is I'll do the lower body warm-up exercises, i.e. the leg curl and the tibia raise, or the calf raise and the leg curl, whichever day that I decide to do. And then before I get to the upper body workouts, I will do what do they call it? A face pull. And what this will do is warm up my shoulders and elbows. But on this specific day, because I do high bar back squats, I will do this before the squat. So before today's main exercise, the high bar back squat, I did the tibia raise, then the knee flexion, i.e. leg curl, and then I went and did a face pull. And all these done one set to failure, anywhere from 6 to 20 reps. So by now, once I get under the bar, it just feels solid. My body temperature is up, I feel really warm. My joints, my shoulders, my elbows, my knees, my hips, my ankles, they just feel supple and just feels amazing. And from there, when I go onto my conventional deadlift, I'm already warmed up, because those two exercises kind of complement each other. They use similar musculature. It's just that one biases knee flexion more, or knee extension more, I should say, or both. And then the other one biases hip extension and hip flexion more. But pretty much they more or less work similar musculature. And then from there, I'll warm up with 80-pound dumbbells, and then go onto my 100-pound dumbbells, which is a personal best. All these numbers, by the way, are personal best. Today I did 2 times bodyweight back squat for 2 for my top set, and a 3 times bodyweight deadlift for 2 for my top set. And then for the dumbbells, I did 100 pounds for 8 paused reps. And then I finish off with a tertiary sort of pulling movement, which will be like an inverted row. And then I will do my favorite bicep exercise that I stumbled across when I was in Australia. And you can do this one with, actually, I'll save this for another video because I really want to talk about every exercise as to why I choose them and why I think it's better, or why I stopped one thing that was really elite and did something that would, in my eyes, would be a little bit less optimal, but what were the trade-offs? So yeah, if you are someone who is struggling in regards to training first thing in the morning, or you feel like you're getting too old for squats and deadlifts, do this. Do a calf raise and a leg curl prior to your squatting session. Okay, or squatting exercise, I should say, sorry. You know, the calf raise isn't really going to be that taxing mentally or physically. Just do one set to failure. And then do a knee flexion, preferably a lying or prone leg curl, because that's not going to be as taxing as, say, the seated leg curl. And again, that's just over exaggerating the whole thing. You know, I don't think it's that taxing to begin with. But if you're truly min-maxing and you're worried about that, do a lying leg curl. I mean, I do both. So on Mondays, I'll do a tibia raise and a prone leg curl. And on Friday, I will do a standing bent over leg curl that will mimic basically a seated leg curl a lot better, by the way, in my opinion. And then I will do a calf raise. Okay, so yeah, try that, because I'm almost, look, man, why take my advice? I'm pretty damn lean, pretty strong, and been able to maintain this for the past half a year now with absolute ease. No cravings. My performance keeps going up, knock on wood, because of my systems that I've put in place. So yeah, it is possible. It is possible to still squat and deadlift, and still squat and deadlift heavy if you do these 3 main warm-up exercises. And then by proxy, once you get under the bar to squat, you are doing, hip mobility right there. So hopefully this has given you some value. I will be back soon, either today or even tomorrow, to talk about some of the other things, because again, I want to make this like my archive. So this will be video number 1, and I want to keep it short, sharp, and efficient. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep doing this until I get a whole archive of my training. So yeah, take it easy. Cheers.